Hey, my name is Krista. My husband and I started Foster Church in January of 2020, and I want to preface anything we do on that is recorded and put on the internet with we are very much relational people, and so doing anything like this is really uncomfortable for us. However, we are very passionate about some of the things that we want to talk about, and so we are willing to put our ego aside in order to talk about some things that we think are really important. So I'm going to start. As I said, my name is Krista. I'm just going to do a little introduction and shut it off. And then the plan is to do some short recordings of on topics that we think are significant and potentially being construed and misrepresented in maybe those who speak the loudest for Christianity, those voices that are the loudest. It's often the loudest in the room that get the attention, but they're not always right. And so we're the little guys, and we're okay being the little guys, but we really think that being accurate is important, and so we have some things that we want to talk about in regards to who God is and what He's up to. And we want to clarify some things that we think have really been distorted by some loud voices in our culture today. So I'm just going to start with me. I grew up not going to church and fairly skeptical of God, even though I think from a young age I felt like His presence, if that makes sense. I can kind of remember as a little girl like praying to God and just talking with Him, and that was like that. I'm not sure where that came from. That just kind of was like my reality as a little girl. And so I was always pretty curious. And growing up, I went to some Christian camps with my girlfriend Lindsay, and another girlfriend in high school took me to a non-denominational church up the street. And I felt like I kind of was resistant. Like I felt there was truth there. I'm very curious about who God was, but did not just like dive in wholeheartedly because I had a lot of questions that I wanted to answer before I did that. And I ended up going to a private school halfway through my high school career, and that was King's. And King's was the place where I felt like I really dug in and asked some questions and got some answers that I was looking for before I felt like I could really put any weight down on some of these things that I was learning. And so I go to college after that, and during my career in college, I had a pastor at UPC. His name was Mike Gaffney, who sat me down and just after a little chat, said, you're asking some great questions. It looks like your passion is pointing in a particular direction. And I said, which is that? Or what direction is that? And he said, to become a pastor. And I said, no way. And 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Belfast, Northern Ireland, where I was a pastoral intern at Fisherwick Presbyterian Church with Derek McKelvey as my pastor, and he did something pretty funny, which was give us all a questionnaire. There were a few of us interns, and he gave us a big questionnaire, like 50 questions of what we wanted to help with or work on and be our ministry. And number 50 was prayer, and that's what I put as last. I did not want to pray. I don't like praying. It kind of feels like you're talking into an empty void and it's pointless. And so, of course, he put me in charge of the prayer ministry. Needless to say, after my year in Belfast, I feel like I got to encounter God in person. Derek really helped us slow down and sit with God and listen to God. He basically taught us how to pray. And often we think of prayer and just the way that you sit and ask God for things or tell God things. And he just kind of reversed all that and just said, no, this is the time where actually you get to listen, because God might definitely want to be saying something to you. So that just changed my world, because God became real. I was listening to his voice. So God became real in Belfast. And after that, I went to Berkeley, California, and was in ministry there, where I met my husband, Dan, and we went off to seminary up in Vancouver, BC, which is Regent College. And that is where I believe I realized God was good. I had a few, all the professors there are incredible, and a few that really communicated the reality of his goodness. Not only does he exist, but he is also good. And from there, I became ordained, and my husband and I have been in ministry for a while now. And then right before pandemic hit, we decided to start a church. And that's what we're doing now, and I'm going to end it there, but I'll come back and talk a little bit about God and Jesus and the gospel and all those fun things, and I will see you later. Thanks.